This is Real Women Celebrating Women in Film. My name is Brenda Daly, and I'm your host. And today we're talking to Ashley Atwood. She is an actress, she is a producer. She just finished doing a film called Rekindling Christmas, probably right before the pandemic. And so you could probably see that on Amazon Prime. And I just wanted to introduce you to her and let her talk to us about her career. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
No,
Woo.
thanks for being on. So is Rekindling Christmas your most recent film?
It's the most recent film that I've produced. I also was in a horror movie called American Boogie Woman
Ooh,
about Eileen Wuornos, the famous serial murderer that Charlize Theron played in Monster.
oh wow.
So we did a different movie, but that was not intimidating at all to play that same character. No.
You didn't have to put on 55 pounds and whatever
Well,
she did.
coronavirus already put on 20 pounds, so that was easy. I just used the role as an excuse.
Right, right.
But they did put lots of prosthetic makeup on, and I had the fake teeth, and it was a lot of fun, new accents, and obviously I'm not a serial murderer, so, um,
That we know of. No, I'm kidding.
I just look sweet on the outside.
Those are the scariest ones.
Yeah, right? That's what my fiance says.
So I like playing those characters. I actually did a movie called Abigail Haunting, and I
Mhm,
didn't have a lot of lines, but I was like the presence, and it was
mhm.
super fun to be that creepy character. Because
Oh, yeah.
and ever since then, though, I get nothing but the villain.
I love the villain though. They're usually the most interesting characters anyway, because they have so much depth to them. My favorite thing is finding their what made them that way. They obviously have a reason, and I think that they always think they're doing good. So I'm always trying to find the good. Like, what is the good that this character believes they are perpetrating it by doing these things?
Right, because we're all the hero in our own story, regardless,
Exactly.
and that's just a human factor that we are.
Yeah, and so that to me is so much more interesting, like finding the good in Eileen Wuornos, who is, she is very ill. She's gone, God rest her soul, but she was very sick, and she thought she was the hero in her story. She thought she was getting rid of these horrible people, and she's like a vigilante in her way, in her own like little
Twisted.
warped
No,
world.
no, I totally get it, but that's kind of how as actors approach a character, I think that's how you have to approach it
Mhm,
because, you know, you can't play a character, "Oh, I'm gonna play evil," because
mhm,
that just doesn't work. You have to make it so that it makes sense to them, so that it makes sense to you,
right, exactly.
especially
That's one of my
the
favorite.
more evil the task, the more it has to make sense to you. So,
Mhm,
I guess as actors, we get to hit that really dark side
mhm,
that we didn't even know was there, searching for why somebody did it for a reason.
right, exploring those facets of humanity that thank God we don't deal with in real life, but we're so lucky to um, get to investigate as actors.
Mhm.
I love playing the villain. They're super fun.
I do too. I It's funny because I grew up my dad was in melodramas. My dad was, this dark Jewish man with black curly hair, and he was always that big booming, and he had literal melodramas, not dramas that come out as but literal like the
Uh-huh.
cape and the whole thing.
Oh, wow. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so he loved doing that. He was the sweetest man on the planet. Like,
Nice.
yeah, but anyway, so I wanted to know, like, as an actor, what's your
Mhm.
favorite method?
I am trained in Meisner, the Meisner technique. So, went to school in New York and then studied at Playhouse West in LA. Um, and being able to connect to the reality inside me, what I connect with emotionally through that story, kind of what we were talking about just now. You have to find that humanity in the villain. Well, what is it about me that relates to the tragedy or the excitement or whatever's happening? And Meisner really was a way that connected with me to break all of the facade away and get to the truth. I also loved the way I literally just took my acting teacher, Robert Carnegie, out to dinner and a show at Pantages to thank him for like changing my life because
Right.
he gave me an avenue to where I could act every day doing exercises, doing, rehearsals and different things on my own rather than waiting for an audition or waiting for a job or any of those things. I was able to create and express my creativity and express my feelings or whatever it is I was working on through exercises that the Meisner program breaks down for you. So,
Well, I think too, people don't understand that actors work every day.
mhm,
You and you have to because you you know, first you need a toolbox and you get a toolbox. Then you have to know what to do with those tools and you have to
mhm,
constantly using that toolbox in
mhm,
order to get to do your job.
mhm. Like
So,
a
uh
violinist is gonna play their violin every day. Woodworker's gonna work on his or her, projects and skills every day. You have to do that the same in acting, but it's not as easy to do because you don't have a job that you're working on every day. You don't have an audition every day. You have to find a way to sharpen those tools every day.
oh,
So,
absolutely. Well, I'm taking a class online, but I just did the scene because they want me to do a lawyer clip. So I did a lawyer clip, on the blue backdrop and everything. And, I mean, it probably took me 3 hours and it was only a paragraph. But I wanted to make
all the
sure that like
legalese.
it came across believably,
Mhm. Like you say it
But I
every
think
day.
every day, and if you don't work with those people every day. I did
Mhm.
have the opportunity because I actually worked as a, victim in a courtroom setting with actual lawyers because they were learning to be trial lawyers. So I
Mm.
got to improv and, make up situations, but I got to
That's
see
cool.
how they real lawyers acted, and so that
Mhm.
really or what what and then the guy who was fine tuning him was like he was almost like he was fine tuning an actor because you have to make the
Mhm.
jury feel something in
Mhm.
order to get them to do what you want them to do. Well, there's acting 101
Mhm.
right there.
Right. That's
So
so cool.
yeah,
So
so
cool.
but I still took me a couple hours because I really wanted it to come across, and I really wanted it to feel like, even though I'm in this blue backdrop, that I'm a lawyer, that
Mhm.
this is what I do, and I'm gonna win no matter what.
This isn't my first 3 hours of being a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer, I just play one on TV. I
Nope.
love that. I love that. So what I know you so you started out as an actress, so what
Mhm.
got you into actual filmmaking? Is it because of what's going on in the world as far as the pandemic, or did you just decide that you wanted to leap into that avenue?
I got tired of, other people dictating what my career was going to look like. Um, I am 5 feet 9 inches tall. I'm fairly curvy, although I was very hungry when I lived in LA to try to stay, like, as thin as possible, to try to fit whatever image I thought Hollywood needed me to be. Um, but I still wasn't getting the roles that I wanted. I wasn't working as much as I wanted. I got tired of having to feel like somebody else was in control of my career. So at Playhouse West, they encouraged us to just start making our own things. And in fact, they have their own Playhouse West Film Festival to showcase the productions of their own students, whether they are just acting in it or they directed it or they produced it or whatever it is. They really encourage you to get out and make your own stuff. Um, and I fell in love with that side of things. I loved putting the teams of people together. I've always been a really good networker. And so meeting tons of people with different skill sets and getting to put them into a job that they excel at and watching them grow in that position was really fulfilling to me. Um, especially when you're newer, you're working with newer people. So like first time wardrobe designers, you're getting their first time to explore their skill set or stuff like that. So it was just really fulfilling to me to be able to put those teams of people together. I never wanted to direct or write or be the cinematographer. I knew that somebody else had those skills, that I wanted to just hire the right people to bring those on so that I could be in front of the camera and do what I loved, which
Right.
was acting. And so,
I think
um,
too, the more you know about filmmaking and like you said, develop your scenes, your clips, your
mhm,
reels. I think the more that you know about it, the better of an actor you are because, you know, you have this camera right in your face and,
mhm,
you're kind of learning to love that camera even more
mhm,
because now you understand the functionality of it all
mhm,
and the
yeah.
psychology of it all.
One of my favorite cinematographers that I've worked with, his name is Larry McKee. He shot Rekindling Christmas, and he passed away. We lost him during COVID, so
Oh man,
uh,
I'm sorry.
broke
It's
broke
terrible.
our hearts. But he was like, "Where are we pretending the light's coming from?" He would always say that, and it helped me so much as a producer, knowing what my crew is doing. Where is this light pretending to come from? So I could kind of follow what they were trying to light, how they were trying to light it, um, what kind of equipment we needed, and why. Because they're always going to ask you for more money to spend on more equipment and more lighting, because that's what we all want. But as a producer, you have to control that spending. And so if you understand and have a little bit of understanding of each department, you can kind of come up, you can problem solve better and be like, well, we don't have the money for a crane. So what are we going to do instead? And it kind of helps that process. And then
Yeah,
you, as an actor, you know what the camera, the camera's side of that point of view is, so that you can kind of
yeah,
adjust.
because after you tell one side of the story, but the
Mhm,
camera is telling a completely different side of the
mhm,
story. It's almost like your nemesis a little bit, but it could also help you tell the beauty of the story, or
mhm,
if you light it right, it literally will, you can bring a feeling to your audience
mhm,
and you don't nobody has to say a word.
mhm,
So I think it's very I just love the whole art of it. I started out acting and then I just kind of and then I had a family and kind of pushed it away. And my older two kids were not interested at all. But my youngest has been doing it since she was 9 and she's 28 this year. So I started writing for her. That's
mhm,
pretty much,
mhm,
and then when she went away to college, she went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I was like, I don't know what to do with myself now. So then I just started going to class and then
mhm.
we started making these clips and reels for class. So I think it's becoming the I still feel like there's not enough content out there. So I feel like, actors out there should empower themselves to make their first film.
Mhm.
I think everybody's looking for that and you just never know. Actors are very creative and they always have to think outside the box because that's their job. So so I think it really does make you more of a critical thinker, when you're developing a show.
100%. And it allows you to practice being on set. Like we said earlier, you've got to sharpen your tools even if you're not working on an audition or on a job. So the Duplass brothers, they came out with an article saying that they made X amount of films in X amount of time, because the technology is so freely available these days with iPhones and all that kind of stuff. So I had a group of creative friends. We call ourselves Thursday Afternoon Films, because we would meet every Thursday afternoon and we would come up with ideas for productions that we wanted to do, little short skits, little short films, or a feature film. And we would all keep ourselves accountable for being our own creative minds. And when that article came out, we decided we were going to make a short film every month for a full 12 months. And we ended up doing 10 out of 12, mostly because of holidays, needing those times off. But it was a huge learning experience. We didn't spend more than $500 on any of these movies, but we did a Western and we did a Alfred Hitchcock style. We did a Wesley Anderson style. We just picked what we wanted to make and we created it, and it gave us all so much experience on behind the camera as a director, because we had to direct it and act in it and do the wardrobe and, figure out how to light it and how to do the sound and how all of those things came together for little to no risk at all. and
And you get all those clips and reels for your acting, to your actor's
we
access
were
and
really
all of that.
good.
Yeah, well, I mean, if
The
you wanted
first couple
if
were
you
not
felt
so
like it. I know, but at least you had that you went through the process.
yes, but you can see the growth through those 10 films. You can see, like, huge growth just in these little 5-minute movies that we did as a group, and we're still best of friends. We created a web series the following year using the same skills that we learned called Wild Wild Yogis, and we are just super, super proud of it. It's on YouTube if y'all want to ever find it. It's making fun of social media and social media influencers. So we love it.
I think too, so when you do that, so anybody who's out there, please, I will find the link and then I will put it into the comments below so that if you guys want to check it out.
Yeah, it's super fun. But that was just a matter of us getting together and wanting to be creative and saying, you know what, we're not going to let circumstances control our destiny. We're going
Right.
to take the bull by the horns and we're going to create our own stuff. And nobody, there was no studio, nobody telling us what we could or couldn't make or write or say or nothing. We just
Right.
created what we thought was funny or that we just wanted to express. And we loved it. And we learned so much from that. And if it wasn't for those experiences, there's no way I would have been able to do Rekindling Christmas and
Right.
jump into the feature film world.
Right. Right. So do you have another feature film you want to produce?
Well, I've taken a step back. So coronavirus did a big number on my mental health, as it did most everybody, I believe. But I needed to take a step back because I had put everything into my acting career and didn't have anything else I really truly cared about. And so when that got taken away, I literally had zero self worth. And quickly realized that that's very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. So I've taken a step back. We bought a house in Arizona, getting married and having a baby this year.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
wonderful.
you. We got a little boy due in October.
Aw.
And I've gotten into real estate and really been working on having something else that I love so that when I go back to acting, I have a more rich experience. B, I have more security underneath me because if something fails, I still have money in my bank account. And if one thing gets taken away, my whole self-worth isn't shattered. So
Yeah, I think that is the problem with the industry is that, we feel like we have to push so hard. Um, I didn't live in that. My daughter lives in that kind of world, but I didn't live in that because, I got married and had kids and we moved out to Vegas. But I think now in this world, and because you can do self tape auditions,
mhm.
everything's a lot more accessible, but Arizona's blowing up. I mean, my daughter did a film Quiet on the Set out there for Sun Studios. I mean, they're constantly doing work, and then
Yeah,
I think you can literally make a movie anywhere now.
I can produce anywhere. And like I said before, like my career has never relied on somebody else hiring me. Yes, I've gotten hired, but those have always been kind of like the icing on the cake for me because it's like,
Mhm.
oh, it's an easy job when I just get to act.
Right. I know, I totally get it.
When I just
Sometimes you just wanna be the actor.
you mean I just show up on time and do
Right,
the
and
acting
keep
and
my mouth shut and just do my job? Sure.
yeah,
I'm not responsible for anything but
any of
this.
it.
Let's do it.
So easy now. But
Yeah,
I think
that's the thing is, when
somewhere.
I did my feature film, I there was a character that I could have played, but I felt like I had so many moving parts and so much stuff going on as the director that to direct yourself
Mm,
takes a very special skill set that I
mhm,
do not have, and I felt
mhm.
like I would not do the performance justice, and I hired this woman that was in my acting class years ago, and she just killed it. Just I mean, I can't say enough about what a great talent she is, but I feel like, you have to pick and choose what you wanna do because you can't do everything,
Mhm, mm-mm.
and producing, when you're doing it all, you just have it has to be for the good of the project. That just at the end of the day, for me, that's how I am. It's like I'm okay with not acting if the project will look better without me, or if it'll look better with me, great. But I don't want to compromise the project.
Right. So I could never direct myself, A, because I would never, ever, ever, ever have a take that I liked.
Right.
Never,
There's that.
would never be able to do that. But as a producer, and I learned this on Wild Wild Yogis because I wasn't there. It was an ensemble web series, so we all had equal part in it. But there would be days where I would more heavy as an actress, right? Like obviously that's kind of just how it would work out. Um, and I quickly realized that being the producer and not having any help as the producer while you're trying to be on set is detrimental to your performance. I remember being up for a close up. Sorry, camera. Can you see me?
Uh-huh.
And the camera was like right here, super close. And then I hear that there's like this piece of equipment missing. Like they're like talking. And then of course they're coming to me and I'm like, can you not see that I've got something else going on right now? But there was nobody else they could ask, and we've got a piece of equipment missing, and that's just something that we had to deal with. So with Rekindling Christmas, I hired uh, multiple production assistants, but then I had an assistant for myself as an actress as
Mhm.
well, and that was super helpful so that I could turn that, take the hat on and take it off, and
Yeah,
everyone
'cause there's
knew.
nothing worse than when you're about ready to play this big heavy scene and someone goes, "Ashley, Ashley, 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 Ashley," and you're like, "What? What?"
Right. Because most people, and granted, Thursday afternoon films were all actors as well, so they got it. But we were so low budget and had such little small crew. What else would you
Those are
do?
the best usually though, but go ahead.
Yeah. For most crew members, they don't understand. Just like we don't understand, most actors don't understand what goes on their end. They don't understand what it takes to get to that close up where you've
Right.
done the take in wide, you've done it in a two shot, you've done it in, all of the different, you've been doing it all day. Now you've got to do close up, and that's the main performance where the tears really have to be right. And you can read the eyes and it's
And
all
it's gotta make everything work together, so it all has to set
right.
the same tone and the same mood.
Well,
Yeah, I get it.
most crew people don't understand what it takes to get there. And so if you're a producer, they're going to ask you that question unless you've got something, another process set up to take care
Right,
of that for
right.
you while you're in front of the camera, if that's what you choose to do. Because I choose to do that because that's what I really want to do. I won't
Well, I
produce
think it's
anything that I can't act in.
important. I think it's important to know where your strengths and the thing is that you could get all those people and then they could all drop off. I was
Mhm.
on a set the other day helping somebody out and, they had all these PAs and they were, like, set, like, they were gonna have all these PAs and everything, and those people just stood around outside and did nothing. It's like, yeah, you're not helping. You're not
Mm-mm.
helpful, you need to leave now,
Time to
you
go now.
know?
Thank you.
Yes, you can go now. Thank you
But
so much, but you did nothing. Don't show up, you know?
right. But there's a lot of people ready to take that job, which I know as an actor is the case, which is why I always bring my A game. But we had to let people go during Rekindling Christmas because they didn't have the work ethic that we were looking for. They didn't have the same vision, mentality. They didn't. They weren't team players, and they would come back at me, and I was like, "Look, this is how we're running this set. I appreciate your feedback, but if you don't want to be on board with us, we can let you go. We'll find somebody else." And they left, and I was like, "Okay." And usually when you do that, the universe will open the door to the right person to come along because the people that we had replaced the non-team players were, we can't imagine having done that film without them because they were part of the culture that we needed to make that film happen.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. I think when you're making a film, having the culture would be amazing because
Mhm,
it would really help people understand, like, this is the game plan and everybody needs to be on the same game plan.
mhm,
It's okay to bring good ideas, but you have to be on the same game plan and
mhm,
everybody's gotta be willing to put in their A game. If
mhm,
you're not it's not that we don't like you, it's not that we don't want you here, but if you can't put in as much effort as everybody else's, then it's just not gonna work.
mhm.
And so that and it's okay to say that. Gotta be a bad bitch sometime. I hate to say that, but
Right. Right, you do, and that's something that I've learned through the process of rekindling Christmas. Like, I know that I didn't trust my own power doing that film because it was my first feature to produce. I thought I had, and I don't say thought I had so much to learn, like I don't, but I didn't realize how well I had honed my skill to that point, and I didn't trust it. And so there were some decisions that I let slide because I thought, oh, well, this person knows more than me, rather than trusting my gut, my instinct, and standing up for what I thought should have been happening.
Mhm.
But, you know, again, that's a skill I learned on Rekindling Christmas. And I think every time you do a project, you learn more and trust your instincts and become like the woman that you should be, and deferring to a man just because you think he knows better than you. You're still you're powerful. You're there for a reason. God put you there for a reason. Trust your instincts, stand up for what you believe. It may work out, it may not, but at least you stood up for it.
So if you were to talk to somebody who's never done it,
Produced a
like
movie or
produced a movie, acted in a movie they produced in, what would be the one piece of advice you would give them?
to to first time producer, I would say start small, because a short film is like a small, like an easier version than a feature film. I wouldn't start with a feature film.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
Yeah, I would start small, find a story that you want to tell, and then start building your team. Yeah, I know my first project, the first thing I did was surround myself with a director that has known what they were doing. I had a co-producer that I think she wanted the credit of an associate producer, and she was really just like a friend, an advisor. Like, I would go to her and ask any questions that I would have, and for the credit, in exchange for the credit, she would answer my questions, even though I was executing everything.
Of course.
She would help me, and so that was worth it to me. I mean, a credit, sure, easy to get, but surround yourself with people that know what they're doing and use your resources. So networking, and building those teams, to me, is the first place that you start meeting people that love what they're doing and are good at what they do.
So what would you, want people to know about you, Ashley Atwood?
Ooh. um, that I'm different. If you knew me 5 years ago, I'm different than who I was 5 years ago. I don't even know me that well anymore because I'm trying to find this new version of me that isn't 150% acting and filmmaking, right? Um,
I feel like you're just taking a little bit of a break, which is
right,
completely fine.
and totally discovering who I am as who I am. I know that I let Hollywood try to dictate what I thought Hollywood wanted me to be. Does that make sense at all?
Yes.
Um, I was like, oh well, I have to be 130 pounds and I have to look 22 years old for the rest of my life, and I have to have be dressed like a millionaire, and I had to have. I just felt like I had to fit into that
Box.
pigeonhole
Yep.
versus letting myself be the hot mess that I am, and reveling in that beauty and using that as part of who what I could bring to the table.
Yeah. And I feel like I know you feel like everything I think we all build ourselves from adversity. So even though you felt like everything was taken away and you went through an issue, we all go through that in life. And
Mhm.
I lost my job of 25 years due to COVID. That's the reason why I made my first feature film.
Mhm.
You always build from adversity. And so, and that's what you've done. And so you should be proud of yourself. And the thing is that we're never just one thing. You're never just an actor, just a filmmaker. You're not just a mom. You're not just anything.
Yeah,
Your whole life, you're going to be a million different things. And you're just, you know, putting a pin on what you're doing now. But all that experience you had in the past will help you help somebody else not put themselves in that little box.
true. I think that maybe that's what I would want people to know about me, I guess, is don't count me out. I've been at the bottom of the barrel multiple times in life, and I've always come back stronger and and in a better place. By the time I got to that next level, I was in a better place every time. So don't count me out. If I get knocked down, might take me a little while to get back on my feet, but watch out because I'm leveling up at that point.
Well,
So
I'm super proud of you, and I just met you, so and I think you're gonna love having that baby. I mean, I had 3 kids in 4 years, and they're just I think if I was gonna say my biggest triumph is all 3 of them. So, done the acting thing and everything, but you know what? I think your kids are truly your biggest triumph, and you get to be all of that to them, which makes it even you have this whole new adventure coming up
it's
that's gonna
definitely a new chapter in my life that we
yeah.
weren't expecting, but I
You
always
you're richer for it,
you're
trust me.
right.
You
It's I have a 14-year-old, just turned 14 yesterday
oh,
from
okay.
a previous marriage like a lifetime ago.
Right.
Um,
But I
and
think you're
so
richer for your kids. I think your
mm,
kids teach you that some things are okay that you thought, "Oh, the whole world's looking at me." No, it's
mm,
okay. It's
no,
okay.
the whole world really isn't looking at you, which is
Nobody cares.
which is it is so ironic because we've fight all of our lives. Oh, I want the whole world to look at me. I'm an actress. I need that for my, career. And it's like, you know what? I don't need that anymore. I can make my movies and have so much fulfillment from making those movies and playing the parts that I want to play. And I'm making my money in real estate. Like great. Like I'm fine there. Now I can really enrich my life where I can do the projects that I really want to do, not what I think I have to do. So I'm really
Exactly. Empowerment. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we are at 30 minutes. I
oh
just
gosh,
want to let everybody know we're gonna put Ashley's gonna send me her trailer and we're gonna put the trailer for her movie. The what's it called? Something Christmas. Sorry.
rekindling Christmas.
Rekindling Christmas at the end of this. Um, this is Real Women celebrating women in film. And today we celebrated Ashley Atwood.
Annika Jolly.
Jesse Winchester. What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be off playing football or something?
Oh, no, I busted my knee.
Think I might be out for good this time.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Annika and I used to be engaged.
That's her? That's college girl?
Isn't that football guy you're always watching?
Yeah, Jesse something.
Hi.
I'm Todd James Marshall.
Nice to officially meet you, Todd James Marshall.
You're coming tomorrow, right?
Well,
Wow, this is amazing.
after all this time, what do you want from me? We can't. Having kids seems to turn guys off.
Anybody who doesn't see that TJ is amazing isn't worth your time.